Hi, and welcome to 30 Days of Brave Thinking. I'm Mary Morrissey, and today I'm offering you a gift that will help you stay calm, help you discover that even during very, very turbulent times, you have a power in you that you can actually call upon. And instead of being taken down by a difficult time, you can actually find a way to have this be one of the most empowering times of your life. So it's completely free. It's the fruit of many, many years of study of transformation, and I'm giving it to you. For 40 years, my mission has been in helping people, empowering people, and training people in how to have a mindset that's a match to the results they want to have in their lives, how to move results from one set of results to another set of results that are more empowering, more life-giving, more fruitful for them, for their families, for their workplace, and literally for our world. And it works. I've been working with this for my entire life, helping tens of thousands of people all over the world, and especially in difficult moments like this one. I believe that the right thing to do is give everything I can give you completely free here. And in 30 days, you can establish a set point, a mindset point, and a way of understanding how you can use even the most difficult times in your life to actually help you catapult your life forward. Not because so much of the difficult time or in spite of it, but because of how you went through the difficult time. And if you just keep breathing, you're going to create results anyway. And since we're in this difficult time, why not use it to the benefit of you, your dreams, the impact you can bring, and the difference you can offer? So I'm happy to make this offer to you. It's completely free. To support you today, I'm going to share a short video clip from my signature training program, Brave Thinking Masters. That's one of my highest level coaching programs where I train clients, students in embodying the principles of brave thinking. You're going to have a thinking. You don't get to not have a mindset. You don't get to not think. And those thoughts have a pattern to them, a vibration to them, and they must and do yield results. So we want to use that thinking in constructive ways with some simple and highly effective tools for how to do that. So today, I offer you this wonderful clip, and I know it will serve you. Thanks for being here. So, before we begin, take a deep breath. Take another one. Bring yourself into the present moment. Stay inside this day and inside this present moment. Make sure your notifications, your pings and dings that might come to you through your technology are shut off. So much coming at us. Let's take some moments now and turn to what's seeking to emerge to us and through us. Let's begin. Tonight's class, of course, I always think every class is very important, but tonight's class can be majorly important in terms of learning how to do some of your own human homework. You know, most humans live and sadly die and never know anything about living a vision-driven life. There's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years on this planet of people living condition-based life. And because that's so, or the major dominant, what we would call thinking layer of the earth or thoughtmosphere that surrounds our planet, it's very easy to succumb to that vibration. And in the absence of building support structures, why it's so important, 5 minutes a day and an hour a week, is that you're building a support structure for an elevated vibrational relationship with how you're living your life. You think different thoughts when you put yourself in a brave thinking mindset. Many, many, many humans, and I think we can just do our own little inner check mark here about how much worry is in our life, how much worry we allow in our mind, in our emotions, how much time in a day on average are we in worry, how much time on average in a week or a month or a year, and what is that vibration doing, and what do we do about that? And what do we, as brave thinkers, it doesn't mean everything in our life is working the way we want it to work. As brave thinkers, it doesn't mean that there aren't things that could happen that we could conjure up in our imagination that would, send shockwaves of concern right through our nervous system. It's often said that worry is the misuse of imagination. So tonight's class is about how to establish a set point inside of us, not because everything's perfect, and not because there aren't things that couldn't happen or some things that may be even knocking on our door as potential things that we don't want. But what does a brave thinking master do with the most important real estate you own? And that's your mind. That mind, those thoughts generate a vibration. That vibration moves right through your nervous system, sends signals, and it amplifies that vibration right into this living ether, or this energy field in which you and I live and move and have our being. So here's a class that I think can be very important for all of us. Take a deep breath with me. And let's remind ourselves, you didn't create yourself. You did not create yourself. You can't even beat your heart one time. Something wonderful seeking to happen with you right now. It's this thing called life. And not just the life you've known, but greater life, and greater life still. And tonight I'm going to give you a 7-point simple process to overcome worry. All right. So lesson objective is that we're going to discover what action steps we can take to replace feelings of worry and anxiety with thoughts of peace and calm, so that we can get unstuck and move forward, move forward in the direction of our dreams by endeavoring to live the life we've imagined. And the life I don't imagine that the life you've imagined has a whole lot of worry in it. I don't imagine the life you've imagined has a whole lot of anxiety in it. Certainly not the one I'm imagining. So we're going to close the gap here. So we're vibrating with what is a match to our vision. Yeah, I want to show you. I'm going to show you a quick video. But before I do, I want to say what this comes from. This comes from a very meaningful, powerful movie called Kung Fu Panda. So here we go.
Inner peace. Inner peace. Oh, inner peace.
Oh. Master Shifu! Master Shifu, what do we got? Pirates? Vandals of Volcano Mountain? Whatever it is, I will take them down. Because I am in a mood. I need to get something done, you know what I mean? What are you doing?
One of Master Oogway's final teachings.
Whoa! Awesome! How did you do that?
Inner peace.
Inner peace? That's cool. Inner peace of what?
It is the next phase of your training. Every master must find his path to inner peace. Some choose to meditate for 50 years in a cave just like this, without the slightest taste of food or water.
Or?
Some find it through pain and suffering, as I did. Oh, the day you were chosen as Dragon Warrior was the worst day of my life. By far. Nothing else came close. It was the worst, most painful, mind-destroying, horrible moment
Okay.
I have ever experienced. But once I realized the problem was not you, but within me, I found inner peace and was able to harness the flow of the universe.
So that's it? I just need inner peace? My inners are already super, super peaceful, so all I need to do is just get this thing going. Inner peace? You're going down. Now show me what you were doing there with your feet.
Inner peace. Every master must find his way, her way to inner peace. It's part of our mastery training. The optimist is right. The pessimist is right. The one differs from the other as the light from the dark, yet both are right. This is one of the books out of one of the books in your wisdom library, In Tune with the Infinite. Each is right from his own particular point of view. And this point of view is the determining factor in the life of each. It determines as to whether it is a life of power or a life of power or of impotence, of peace or of pain, of success or of failure. So you heard the master say, this was the worst thing in my life. went on and on. And then he says, but then when I realized that the problem was not out there, the problem was in here. And this is the power of perception. So Abraham Maslow, who's famous for his developmental path of how we can develop into full mastery, really, what he called transcendental living. There was another name that he used. One of you will remember it. He says we must all learn to become porous to aliveness. Let's talk about what that means. Porous to aliveness. So in being porous to aliveness, we are really noticing, and one of the things we're doing, you and I, are noticing when we're more alive and when we're feeling more contracted. Noticing when we're in a higher state of vibration and when we're feeling more contracted. And what thoughts we're thinking. As soon as we start to notice that we're in a more contracted state, we start noticing what was the thought I was thinking, what was I watching, what was I reading, who was I hanging out, what was the conversation that's driving, because the vision I'm holding is on a more expanded state. It's elevated, it's a higher frequency. I can't have that in my life and be on this frequency anymore. Then I can have 91.2, but be on 87.4. I'm not going to get what's on the higher frequency. The spirit of infinite peace, and the moment we come into harmony with it, there comes to us an inflowing tide of peace, for peace is harmony. And we're talking tonight about a peace that you can have that has nothing to do with circumstances. It's easy to have peace when all the everything's lined up the way we want. Worry is the gestation period during which the negative situation is produced by our thought and appears in our experience as a problem. Worry is, so notice this, that as I get into worry, I'm generating along a wavelength, and there's a gestation period in which this negative situation is actually being birthed. It's being driven right into existence by my soul force vibrating at the frequency of my worry. This is out of The Power of Decision, another book in your wisdom library. The moment we fear anything, we open the door for the entrance of the actualization of the very thing we fear. Andrew Carnegie said, anything that is, any thought that is in which it is greatly feared or greatly revered, which means it's highly charged. That thought is highly charged with our emotion. It's greatly feared, oh my God, that just can't happen. Or it's highly charged with love, which is why we're moving to a frequency, which is the vibration of what we would love in our life. Any thought that is greatly feared or greatly revered begins immediately to clothe itself in the most convenient substance possible. This is physics. The thing we dare not do, Hollowell says, is to fret and worry about supply or where the next dollar is coming from. It's the fret and the worry that is actually part of the restriction. And actually, there's plenty, but not at the frequency of fret and worry. Our answers, our ideas, our ability to make the shifts that we want to make in our life are not on the frequency of fret and worry. So again, we're just not blaming ourselves. We're just doing a good inner inventory. How much is a worry a player in my life? Because I get to choose how much. When I'm awake at the wheel of my own thinking, I get to choose how much. There was a time in my life when, I was reading all these things and studying this, but I wasn't yet very adept at the noticing what you're noticing. And so there would be periods of time when I would be entertaining something that I didn't want at all. And in fact, fear and worry had full permission, not consciously by me, but in the actual way I was living my life, full permission to come into my life at any time. Most of us have a life where just because somebody knocks on your door, it doesn't mean you're going to let them in. It might be late at night, or it might be somebody you don't know, or they want to sell you something you don't want to buy, or you have a filter between your front door and who actually comes in your house. Most of us have that. Most of us have a filter about who we're willing to pick up the phone and talk to. It's important for us to know. And some of us have not yet developed any filter between the door of our own mind and energies that come knocking on the door and will disturb us if we bring them in. Might even undermine the very dreams we're holding. And there was a time in my life where fear, doubt, and worry at full unconscious permission. I mean, I'd be doing dishes or something. I'd be standing at the sink and all of a sudden this thought would come in and, I'd feel this sort of terror. And it was like, oh my God, well, if that happened, and then I'm off and running, I'm down to the races on that. Or I'm eating dinner. Fear of doubt and worry could come and sit down with me at dinner. Or find me when I was brushing my teeth, or even crawl into bed with me. And then I began to do a deeper piece of this work. So I'm encouraging you and inviting you this next 7 days, do a worry inventory. Not that you're looking for worry, but you have, when Emerson said, stand guard at the portal of your own mind, that your mastery work is noticing it when it's moving through in those wavelengths. And then tonight we're going to talk about what to do when you notice it. You can't do anything about it if you don't notice it. Irma Bombeck said, worry's like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it never takes you anywhere. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. Deciding is the beginning step. But deciding that you're going to be a master over your own fear, doubt, worry. If only, won't it be great when? These are scarcity thoughts. Yes, for your vision, of course it'll be great then, but it's great now. It's working from the vibration that's harmonious with the vision I'm holding. It's already great. Or I'm outside that vibration. You are not the problem, Raymond Charles Barker. You are not now, nor have you ever been the problem. You are the person who sees the problem in order to activate the idea necessary to solve the problem. Ideas, not physical bodies, solve problems. When you went to math class, you had problems every single day. You were and you never in math class thought, oh, what am I doing wrong that I've got problems? You knew that by learning how to use the invisible law of mathematics and learn how to apply that invisible law to solve ever more complex problems, you grew and grew and grew in your ability to solve problems. And life is very much like that. There's situations and conditions that are the effect of the states we've been in, but we have the ability to transform and override those. Life never made a problem person. It made a person capable of solving problems. So here's a question for you. Is this guy looking at the sun, or is he looking at his shadow? This is from The Power of Decision from Raymond Charles Barker. An unintelligent use of mind can only produce an unintelligent result. You do not blame the sun for the shadow. The sun is not causing the shadow. An object or person blocking the sun causes the shadow. The shadow is the result of an obstruction. Your problem, think of one you've got right now that you'd like to solve. It may be something in money, something in relationship, something in your health. Your problem is the result of an obstruction in your own thinking from the vibration of the solution. You're not letting life flow through you in the way that life really works. Divine intelligence has never created a problem for any of its creations. Like the sun, it's forever itself, forever giving of itself and unaware of the misuse that we are making of this great gift. Standing with your back to the sun, you can watch your shadow. Standing with your face to the sun, you see it not. This is important for us, very thinking masters, as we look at how to establish peace of mind, inner peace, even with situations. Looking at the sun, you see not the shadow. Not seeing your shadow, it has no existence in your awareness. Therefore, it has no reality in your experience. Problems of the shadows created by us when we refuse to face the light of intelligence and therefore make wrong decisions and abide in the halls of worry, confusion, and defeat. The problem could not exist if we did not exist to create it and experience it. So we can shift our attention from our concern with the problem and give the same amount of thinking and feeling to our awareness of ourselves as one with intelligence, one with power, one with ever increasing life. Then a right idea will happen in your thinking, as it did for my Jewish friend. It didn't change the neighbors, it changed her. It liberated her. Then a right idea will happen in your thinking as you will try, and you will triumph over the enemies of your own perceived wrong ideas. You are a new cause bringing forth a new effect when you change that. But Bernie Siegel of the Northeast, an oncologist who began to be a very typical, ordinary oncologist, and not ordinary, but I mean in the mindset that here's the situation, that's a diagnosis, here's the prognosis, 97% of the people die with this. I mean, this is sorry, these are the facts. And then something happened in him. He had a spiritual shift inside of him. And he asked himself a question one day. If 80% of the people with this diagnosis die, what's going on in the 20% who don't? If 97% of the people with this diagnosis die and 3% don't, what's going on in the 3%? And he shifted his focus to studying those who beat the odds, those who lived 5 or more years, way beyond what was any expectation, with particularly the most severe of the diagnoses of any kind of disease. And he was an oncologist, so mostly he was studying cancer. And he began to notice something about a pattern that was consistent in these kinds of people. They all had a diagnosis, but they had a resiliency in their thinking and being where they tended to accept that they had a diagnosis, but refuse the prognosis in such a way that they didn't see themselves as fighting a disease. They turned their attention toward living their life. And they would hold their mind out of the worry or dwell as little as possible there, and refuse to not have the life they did have, arguing for and fighting for the life that they might not ever, days they might not have. I'm not going to waste this day worrying. I'm not going to waste this day trying to fight the situation. They had many, of course, different ways of dealing with their disease from a medical point of view. But what he found consistent was not the medical protocols. It was the mind protocols. It was what was going on and the visions. They were active. These people getting well was not their big dream. They wanted to get well, but getting well was in service of their big dream. This is important for us brave thinkers. So whatever problem you want to solve right now, your vision is bigger than that. And it's important to stay tuned to that. So he told the story that night about his wife said could he help her with the garbage disposal, that it was not working. She couldn't get it to come on. And so he's an oncologist, but not really a mechanic, but he got down and undid the whole thing and then put it all back together and it still wouldn't work. And he says, I don't know, I've taken it all apart and put it back together, but it still won't work. And she said, well, did you push the reset button? He says, what do you mean? Where's the reset button? And right under the garbage disposal is a reset button. And he said, when he pushed that button, everything worked. And he realized that for us, for many of us, it is the idea of emptying out the garbage and then hitting the reset button in our lives. So tonight, the garbage is our worry, the amount of worry. Now, if a worry thought comes to you and there's something you can actually do about it, then do the thing you can do about it. But the worry itself, just the, fussing and fuming when worry comes along, fretting, indulging in that. In the degree that we come into a full realization of our oneness with this infinite power, do we become calm and quiet. In the degree that we're aware of this, undisturbed by the little occurrences that before so vexed and annoyed us, the neighbor next door, what somebody's saying, not getting something we wanted. Peace lies not in the external world, it lies in our own soul. So here's 7 points. A 7-point simple process to dial down worry, have it have much less impact and influence in your life. Okay? Number 1, You can't change something you're not noticing. So we're going to, this next 7 days, this is our practice, elevating us as brave thinking masters to being more masterful. Notice it. Notice it. I'm noticing my worry right now. Here I am worrying again. Just notice it. Name it for what it is. This is using my power of thought on the wavelength of worry. You notice it because you start to feel concerned, you start to feel worried, you feel upset. It's a downgrade in your vibration. You got to name it for what it is. It's worry. This is, oh, here it is. So you name it for what it is. Then you ask it 2 questions. Okay. So worry thought, fear thought. You ask it 2 questions. Number 1, are you happening right now? Oh my God, I could get a disease. Oh my God, this could happen to my child. Oh my gosh, whatever it is. Are you happening right now? Ask it. Almost always the answer to that's going to be no. Second question, do I want it to happen? This is mastery over your own real estate. Do I want it to happen? The answer is going to be no. You get your 2 no answers, and then you sequester it. It's like, all right. And in the beginning, when I was first learning to have my own healthy doors in my mind so that fear just couldn't drop in and worry just couldn't come any time of day or night, so that I could establish a new set point of inner peace, not based on things in the world, inner peace, based on a relationship with the power breathing me. I didn't have the mental, spiritual development or the mental power to control my own thinking. I would tell myself I'm going to control my own thinking, and then thoughts would just come in. And so it began with me learning to identify the thoughts as they came in as uplifting or downdrafting, and then identifying them and then sending them on their way. And if there was something going on in my life that I was concerned about, as a human, in my human nature, I was concerned about it, then I learned that if I sequestered the fear, doubt, and worry, and maybe agreed to have a conversation with it for 10 minutes at 3 o'clock, I couldn't get it out of my mind all day long. I didn't have that power. But I could say to it, I'll talk to you at 3 o'clock for 10, or whenever it was. But I would make a date with my fear, doubt, and worry. The deal is you got to keep that date. But then you can learn to sequester it. And then during that time, you're asking it again, is it happening right now? Is there anything I can do that I'm not doing that would make it less likely? Is there anything I could do that I'm not doing, or anything I'm doing that if I stop doing? So you're looking at your relation, is this coming to me because I'm actually participating in something that could be generating a thing I don't want? Most often it's not that. And a lot of the time you're going to find it's even paradigm stuff. Is that you're really starting to grow. You're really starting to expand. You're really starting to, move in a new direction. And so your paradigm's going to want to dial you back down. Oh, let's get you worrying about something. Let's get you downing about something. And it seems so real when it pops into your mind. If you don't know it for what it is, notice it, name it, ask it. Is it happening right now? Do I want it to happen? And notice a feeling of strength that rises up in you, that you can master the amount of worry and doubt and fear that you live in. And with that, you go up the ladder of awareness. You go up the ladder of vibration. Your dreams are not on the frequency of your worry or your doubt or your fear. So you sequester it. Over time, you can have interruption, and I'm going to wait 3 days. When I tell that story the first time I used that tool, did fear, doubt, and worry rise up? Many times. But I said to it, I'll talk to you Friday at 5. I didn't even know I could do that. I could sequester it. Meanwhile, I'm getting inventive. Meanwhile, I'm curious about what possible good I might find in this situation. And for us, is what possible good could I be participating in here? So we sequester it. Very important for us. And shine truth upon it. And here's the truth. My friend Marianne Williamson one time said, when fear kind of knocks on my door, I used to try to run from it. I used to do all this, and we masterminded that day, and it was her model of it was dare the dark. So if it comes in, you look right into that fear. Here's where you shine the truth upon it. If this really happened, this is an important piece of it also. So you look right at that fear, and it's going like boogeyman, boogeyman, and you look right at that fear, and you say, "Here's the truth." Now over here, prior to this, you already have identified that it's not happening, and you've identified that you don't want it to happen. And you've learned to sequester it some, as much as you did that day. When you shine the truth upon it, you're going to see it, you're going to see something happen. Here's the truth. Even if you did happen, my God and I would handle it. From the first breath you took, your higher power and you have been living life. Everything you've overcome up to now, all the things that you've been through, you were never alone. And while you don't want this thing, so ultimately we want to give it no energy, but one of the ways to help just get your system to really calm down and to know the truth about this, even if you did happen, my God and I would handle it. Fear of disease, fear of old age, fear of death. I mean, one thing about death, one of the best things you can do for yourself is know everybody has one. The same way we all have a birth in this dimension. So rather than putting our attention on not wanting that, or anybody else that we know and love not wanting that, is wanting instead to make sure that while we do have this day, we're living our life in such a way that when the inevitability of some of the people we love, their next step is taking them to another dimension, that we're not living with regret that while they were here, we didn't love them, express that love, care in the way we can care. Shine truth upon that fear. Even if you do happen, my God and I will handle it. You may not feel that when you say it at first, or my higher power, my source, whatever word you use for that, you may not feel it when you first say it. But in the same way that Napoleon Hill repeated Andrew Carnegie's words that he told him to say, you say it, and pretty soon you start to feel it. Your feelings will follow that. So notice it, name it, ask it, sequester it, shine truth upon it. Take it to zero. Take it to zero. You can make any thought, you can make it way big and important, or you can drive it right down to zero. So shine truth upon it. You have no power over me now. You have no power over me now. You take it to zero. And you thank it for giving you the opportunity for mastery, and then you turn your attention and take a step in the direction of your dream. And now you're on your way. But you didn't let it have you. You took some time to shift the vibration in a very holistic way. If your problem has a solution, Chinese proverb, why worry about it? If your problem doesn't have a solution, why worry about it? Mark Twain said, I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. Martin Luther, you cannot stop the birds from flying overhead, but you don't have to let them nest in your hair. And this is a very important thing for us with worry and doubt and fear. Jesus says this, peace I give to you, not as the world gives peace. This is a peace that passes understanding. When I met His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and he said he spent his early days, he was 14 when he left Tibet, when he was being exiled out of Tibet. He was a kid, and the people he knew, and for him to, he said the first number of years, he said, I lived in such worry. And then I began to do practices so that I could keep my heart clean and my mind sharp. That I knew that worry would not have a clean heart or a sharp mind. He's literally on the scale of intelligence. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met. But he's smart in a different way also. When I was with him, I wanted to ask the question, how have you, 40 years of, when I met him, this is in the late 90s, spent 7 years working with him. How can you have had the kinds of things that have happened in your life, not only to you, but to the whole Tibetan culture, and thousands and thousands of Tibetans imprisoned for life and their families for having spoken Omne Padme Hum, which effectively would be you or I saying, "Hero, Hero Lord, the Lord our God is one," or "Our Father who art in heaven." And he has no bitterness in him. I had no sense of worry or hurry. I didn't feel one wavelength of anxiety in this man. He works diligently for the freedom of Tibet. There's no push energy in him. And when I asked him about that, I said, how do you do that? How do you have all these facts, and yet everything I can feel from you, or I've read about you, or I've heard when I hear you speak, I don't find any of this in you. And from a human point of view, we have compassion and understanding when somebody's gone through very, very difficult things and they have some bitterness in them or resentment in them. At a human level, we can understand that. But here's somebody who had all that and none of that. How does one get there? And that's when he said, oh, we all have friends and we have sacred friends. So the neighbor to my Jewish friend was her sacred friend. We all have friends and we have sacred friends. Sacred friends. He said, our friends, easy love, easy forgive, easy heart. Sacred friends. Very, very difficult. Worry, in essence, is a part of the sacred friend experience. Doubt, fear. It comes trying to tantalize us to move into states of experience that block us from seeing the light. We actually turn our attention from the sun and look at the shadow. One of the early practices in Brave Thinking Mastery is to learn to take your attention off the problem and put it on truth. The truth is there's a power in me that's greater than anything in this world. Truth is that each one of us is far greater than we know. We are spirit having a human experience. We are more than our humanness. But we don't get to experience it unless we move. The content of our life is the curriculum of our evolution. So the content that we're working with this coming week is looking at the amount of worry that we indulge in, engage in, noticing how often and when we worry or doubt or fear tries to come into our thinking. You can't stop the birds from flying over the air, but you can stop them from landing in your head. And you shoo them away and you replace those thoughts. You can't just discard a thought. You have to replace that thought with something that is of a higher vibration. Dalai Lama was very careful to say it's not the Chinese people, it's the Chinese government that has sought to disseminate and kill really the 5,000-year-old culture known as Tibetan Buddhism. And so he's careful to distinguish that. But he's not able to stop that, but he's able to change what's going on inside of him. And that didn't change who her neighbors were being, but it changed her. There's a peace I give you, he says, that is available to every one of us. That's a peace that passes understanding. Because ordinary understanding is I'll have peace when they stop doing that, when they stop parking their truck in front of me. Then I can be peaceful. But that's not spiritual mastery. And that's not the kind of brave thinking mastery. And why this matters to you is that level of mastery brings with it other gifts. So let's remind ourselves what we did here. Every one of us has a certain amount of fear, doubt, and worry. Does Mary Morrissey ever have fear, doubt, and worry? Sure. You're right. It's not like I've mastered it to the point where it never knocks on my door, but it doesn't have the control by a long shot that it used to have in my life. Nor once I start noticing that I've let down some of the screens and it's in my life more than I'm used to, because my normal now is that I don't have much of it. I don't have a whole lot of it, let's say that. And I know what to do when I do. I gave you a 7-step process tonight. The process doesn't work. You work the process and it'll work. That's how any process is. And I want to invite you to trust this process. and it will get easy. Those 7 steps, you won't even really think about them, but you will do them. And it's a way of shifting the vibration away from fear, doubt, and worry. And also being grateful for the opportunity to master it. It came so that you could master it and have the growth of that and really get to know who you are much more fully. Let's make some really great shifts with our own inner peace, our ability to have a peace that's not based on conditions. In the same way, our life is not based on conditions. So feel a big hug from Mary Morrissey tonight. I love you very, very much. Mwah. See you next time. Okay, let's take another deep breath here as we come to the end of this video. I hope this clip served you today. And if you know anyone that is going through tough times or anyone who could benefit from this, go ahead and help them. This is all free. Go ahead and help them. Invite them. Share the video with them. And rather than spreading fear and contraction and panic, let's each instead be a part of what lifts us up. Let's give what we can give. Let's spread hope. Let's spread compassion. Let's spread peace and calm, health and love. And so here we are today. You have many choices about where you spent your time. I'm grateful you were here, and I hope for you that you, as people come to mind, that you help them with what you can in the ways that you can only do that. And also, if this is helpful to you, go ahead and share it. It's free for me, and I'm happy to give it away. So becoming a brave thinker, and staying in these higher levels of vibration, we actually become part of the solution instead of part of the problem. It's easy to have the ain't it awful conversation. But as a brave thinker, you're turning now to a different way of being, even in very difficult times. And it makes all the difference. And now, if you would love even more support in embodying brave thinking in these challenging times, I have a gift for you. Click below, and you're going to have an opportunity to receive from me 30 days of daily videos from me for 30 days, helping you stay in a mindset of uplifting thoughts, choosing that day what you can do. I will give you a 5-minute personalized video for you for that specific day of this 30-day program in learning how to establish a set point in your normal thought pattern of being a brave thinker instead of dealing with everything coming at you. You will get through this time, but who you become at the end of this and what your conditions are and whether you've grown through this time or just barely gritted your teeth to get through it will have everything to do with your thinking. So my gift to you is 30 days of training. It just takes 5 minutes in the morning. You're going to have a mindset on anyway. You don't get to not think. Why not think? From a vibration that actually takes you where you want to go instead of just barely getting by and reacting to the circumstances we have. So for the next 30 days, I'll send you a 3 to 5 minute video, simple, highly effective steps that you can apply that day to making that day the best day you can have, even in the midst of difficult times. There's no sales pitch in this. There's no hook. It's just a gift from me. And I'm happy to do it at this time particularly. So it's something I've been helping clients with for many, many decades. And I'm just giving it away now. So I'm happy to do that. And I hope you will avail yourself of it. And then if you want to give it to somebody else, feel free to do that right now. That's what we're doing. So, and you can leave any question you want in the comment section below. So I love hearing from you. Did you enjoy this? What helped you? What would you like more of? How you doing right now? What else can I help you with? So until tomorrow, feel a big, big hug from Mary Morrissey.